Yes. I'm running late. I was just getting my tea. Sorry about that. I didn't quite realize the time. Anyways, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It is Sunday night, and it's a weird night because it's been a weird week in many, many ways. And I'm going to try and stay away from the politics because I don't want to bring that into this, but probably like many of you, I'm sitting here demystified. Demystified? Completely mystified. Not quite understanding what the hell is going on, but more not understanding why. And it's a very, very weird situation. And my thoughts and everything go out to the folks over there. I don't really want to add names and stuff because of I don't know what the analytics is going to do. But I think almost everyone is universally seeing this one way in anyone with sense anyway. So yeah, we're gonna leave that there. It's also been a weird one in the UK because we've had some shocking weather. Absolutely shocking weather. It really has been terrible over here, and it's prevented me doing a lot of stuff and getting out and flying, and it's been really hard to do what I need to do this week, especially with this little orange thing, which we will talk a bit about, because Dave has very kindly lent it to me. As you can see in front of me, and let me drop it to that camera, yes, I have the O4Xs, and I'm going to say something on that in a minute. But there's a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about HD0 because there's been a fantastic review of the 1 watt, but also some stuff I want to talk about on that from another video that was done with Slats FPV that's offline, and I just want to explain a few things on that. We're going to talk again about this Orqa pricing thing because I've had a bit of time this week to have a look at stuff and have a dig in the background, and there's some things quite interesting here which I want to talk about. And we're also going to talk about that Autel as well, and anything you guys want to talk about too, any questions and everything. Now, as always, let's get that back up. We have the amazing people who are there. Those of you guys who are in the chat, good evening, Type. I hope you're there. Hello, everyone. Hello, Steve. Hello, Bruce. Right, let me get to the top. So, hello, Simon. How are you? Good evening, RC Ritter. Yes, I'm causing trouble as always. Good evening, Type. I think I've said it already, but good morning, good evening. How are you? Good evening, Mike. Good morning, Mike. Dronoid, how are you? Mike again. Christopher, hi. David. Good evening, David. How are you, my friend? Robert Nelson. Good evening, sir. Eat your veg. Got the customs invoice yet? No, I haven't. I don't know if I will. We'll talk about that. Steve Mann, hello. Orqa FPV is growing on me. I think they're not a bad product. Well, the idea of it. Everything is going up in price. Toilet paper is going up. We are going to feel it big style. Now, I'm going to start this live stream with a bit of backtracking and an apology to Banggood, because in last week's live stream, I had a rant on Banggood that they'd messed me around on my delivery. They had not done what they said they were going to do, and I was frankly disappointed. That was Sunday night. Monday, these turned up. The order from Banggood. So I probably owe Banggood an apology for some of what I've said, but I will maintain that their tracking is absolutely shocking. Their communication is shocking. But the goggles did arrive the very next day from my rant about them basically not turning up. So it's crazy. So they have arrived. I haven't paid import duties or anything else. They just arrived. I signed the bit of paper and signed the computer for the guy and sent it off. And I am going to talk a bit about them. I don't have a lot of flight time on them, but I've got some initial impressions that I will share with you guys as well. I'm just going to turn my fire off because I'm cooking now. I was quite cold, but then the cup of tea has warmed me up. So, yeah, just a big thank you to Banggood. Turned up in great condition. They are here. Here they are. So we will talk about them a little bit too. Custom service won't hand over anything until after you've paid. Yes and no. It depends the courier in the UK. I have had bills come later before. You just get a letter through the post from the courier. What tends to happen is the courier pays it and then they come after you. For instance, FedEx does that. Good evening, Peppermint. How are you? So, they are here. They are here. I have to say, I am extremely happy with what I've seen so far, but I do have some observations. Let us know if I'm good price, and I can tell you. It says including VAT, but I don't know if that's import duties type. So, and I'll be honest, I got these on a bit of a deal because I got them for £421 all in the UK, which is very good. If as long as I don't pay any more, it's a good price. It really is. So we will talk about them. Now, I'm going to put that box out of the way a minute. So I got my cup of tea there. Time-wise, it took from the 1st of February to whatever. What was the date last week? I've lost track of what the date was last week. So that was the 21st. So it took 21 days, which isn't bad. I'll be honest. I can take 21 days. That's absolutely fine. And that's 21 days in the middle of Chinese New Year as well. So I should add again, that's actually very, very good, considering. So... okay, so guys, as always, if you've got any questions, do put them in the chat when we're ready for them. If there's anything you want to know, please do let me know. But let me just get onto my screen to get myself in order. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the upcoming 1W VTX from HD0, because there's been a fantastic review video, again, from Giant Ant Cowboy. This guy keeps banging out some absolutely fantastic looking videos, let alone anything else. The effort he's putting into these is astonishing, and I'll just put it up on the desktop. If you haven't seen his YouTube channel, it's this one here. 1.43k subs, but this video is absolutely fantastic, and some of the footage on this, let me just mute it, is stunning. Let me just get through to him flying at the end. He's got some absolutely amazing footage on these videos, and I really, really suggest taking a look at it. I'll be honest, I think I'm probably not going to review this VTX. I am going to be testing it, and I will share my testing thoughts, but I'm not sure if I should bother reviewing it or not based on this alone. You know, Wes has covered it. These guys have covered it so well. I'm not convinced there's a point for me covering the same thing over and over, especially a review like this. But I don't know what you guys think, whether I should or not. If you want me to do one, I will do one. There's no question about that. But I'm just at the stage of what's the point of doing the same thing other people have done. Now, he does show the size and stuff and the connections layout. Again, I do have some things I will mention in my overview or discussion about it. He does show the DVR footage as well in the video if you want to have a look, and it looks very good. You know, what we're seeing in the long range stuff looks fantastic. There's no question about that. I think long range wise, this is looking very, very promising. Very, very promising. I'll be interested to see how it does hold up in Bando, and I will talk about that a bit in a minute, because there are fundamentals of the HD0 system that will hold it back around packet loss. So once a packet's gone, it's gone. And we did see a bit of that on the FPV video, Slats FPV, which I'll talk about in a minute, because I want to talk about that a little bit too, and that's been taken down because of complaints and whinging and people getting things wrong and, you know, the kickback that comes with it. But overall, it does look a very good unit. It is big. There's no getting away from that, and it's not going to fit in every frame. You know, he shows it there, and he does go through in the video showing you the side. So you've got the two connectors, you've got the main power connector on the side, and then you've got the firmware update port, and then there's another port round here, which is the port for the camera board. I'm not sure if that's on the final version, and they might have removed that. And then you've got the MIPI connection, and then you've got the UFL on the back. But it is quite big, and he does go on to show that in various parts of the video, showing you what frames it will and won't go in. So it's going to be interesting to see. I will be talking about this VTX when it arrives. I just may not do an out-and-out review on it. because I'm getting to the stage of, the problem with some of this HD0 stuff is they're giving it to certain people they want to give it to who've had very early access, and they're putting out some great content. And the reality is there is no point me... I did see the Bando stuff on it, and it looked promising, but I want to see more. It does look promising, but it's you know, when these guys have had early access and they're making out such good content like this, like Wes, like these others, you know, there's no point me sitting here making the same video showing you what the unit looks like and stuff, because there's good content to that. So what I'm probably going to do is I want to fly it enough first and test it, and then I'm going to give my thoughts on it rather than an out-and-out review. I may do a full review. I don't know. I haven't fully decided. There's been some comments on that, you know, just because others have made a review, you shouldn't do one, and I'm not against it, but I'm having to time stuff, or what I choose to put time into, and it might be easier to simply test it and give opinion rather than go through the whole rigmarole of showing it going into a frame and stuff like that. And it is interesting. It is interesting. A technical strip down, yeah, that's coming. I wasn't going to say it, but I'm definitely going to pull the covers, which others have done already, and I'm going to show you a bit of that in a minute as well. But it's a great video. It does show what it's capable of. I think, what did he get up to max range? He did get right. Where is it? He certainly got up to a good range. What's he here? No, that's the way. Must be on the way back down, is it? No, on the way back up. Let's just have a look. I can't remember what he got up to. He does some good penetration tests as well. So he's on the ground there. He's only 300 meters there. I'm just waiting until he gets up to the mountain. Does he get to the mountain? He turns around in this one because he's having some problems. He's up to 6. I'm guessing, is that kilometers? 4 to 5k. Yeah, that's saying 6.57, 6.34. I'm guessing that's in kilometers and not miles. So he gets over the top. Oh, he's hit 7k there on the 500. Yeah, 6.6 from home. Pretty good. So it's a good distance. It really is a good distance. And it looks very good. You know, look, it looks very, very good indeed. It really, really does. So that's interesting. Now, while that is interesting, there was a lot of noise over poor Slats FPV this week, who put a video out. And the reason I say poor is, okay, it looks like he hasn't got some stuff right. I don't know the guy myself. Seems a good guy. Think he's put he put a video out showing it in a Bando area compared to DJI, and things weren't quite as people expected. It turns out he was lent a pre-release unit which didn't have the latest firmware on, which also may not have been set up 100%, and it also was missing a can for the RF side of things. Now, just to put this back up on the desktop, it was missing a shield, which I'll talk about a bit in a minute, because I want to talk about why that might matter, because it's all about impedance and it's all about RF matching. The problem is, what we don't know is the effect that shield has. HD0 have said it will have an effect because of their testing, but what we don't know is the effect that will have, and I will explain a bit about that in a minute. But Slats has put his video up and he's taking it down again because it's being redone and they're going to have a look at it again. And as I said, at the time, there was a lot of talk about the VTX not being set up on the correct firmware, but also missing a shielding. Now, this is the images of the VTX with the covers off. It's known as the VTX-L or the VTX Freestyle. As you can see, there's two here. You've got one with this metal shield and one without. And if we just zoom in and just take a bit of a closer look, what you can see is we've got pretty much the traditional HD0 setup. We've got the MIPI cable, we've got the MIPI controller, the DiviMath chipset going into the RF side of things. And they're using, like on the 500 milliwatt model, a dual parallel amplifier setup. Now, for those who don't know how this works, is you can have varying setups with power amplifiers to get increased output. You can have a single power amp that would produce, say, 1 watt, or you could have 2 500 milliwatts, and depending on what configuration you put them into will depend the output. Now, the way they appear to have it set up here is parallel amps that will be set up in such a way that by paralleling them up, you will get 3 dB of gain, which is basically double the RF power output. So what will happen is, whatever the power going in is, you will get the output from 1, but then it will be doubled because it's increased by 3 dB. So if each of these is producing 500 milliwatts, it's capable of outputting 1 watt. But there are some quirks around the way this works because, for instance, the voltage remains the same, but the current is doubled from the RF side of things. And off the top of my head, the impedance will be halved as well. So there's going to need to be some matching going on, which is this little circuit you can see here and going out to the antenna. Now, the reason the discussion around this shield being important will be entirely based on a couple of things. Number one, it could be impedance matching. So this shield will help stabilize the impedance around this unit because impedance plays a massive factor. So, for instance, the air gaps act as capacitance from the tracks and has an effect on the RF, or it will be cooling. So what it may be doing is offering cooling across from those tops of those chips to this and thus out to the heatsink. And it's possible the heatsink doesn't actually meet these 2 chips compared to where it does with that. I'm probably leaning on impedance because they're talking about it was found that the RF output was improved by adding the shielding. And the fact that there's secondary shielding around here. This almost looks like a preamplifier setup. So what it almost looks like is we've got the main chipset with a preamp, which then is leading on to a main amp, or this is voltage regulation. I can't quite see. You can see the 2 tracks coming out of here, but the image isn't good enough. But the RF shielding on the top will have an effect on the radio side of it through capacitance, and it will affect the impedance because just creating an air gap between those tracks and that shield will change the impedance matching circuit and change how it behaves. So it is believed that this is going to be part of what caused SLAT FPV the problems. Now, it is interesting to see how this VTX is going to behave because if it is impedance, it is going to be interesting to see how affected it is by even antennas and how touchy it's going to be. They are going to be shipping this VTX with its own antenna, and that's been done because it's been chosen to match. But we're going to have to see where this VTX ends up and the performance people are getting, because if it is touchy, it is going to cause people some problems. And I'll be honest, the 500 milliwatt is quite touchy now. And it's a very similar setup on the 500 milliwatt, actually. Very similar setup on the 500 milliwatt, indeed. They have duals going in. In fact, let me just find it. I actually put some images up on repair.wiki. I've been putting some stuff on repair.wiki slowly. I'm slowly building up the drone stuff. Haven't shared this with anyone yet, but I've started to build up stuff on HD0 and the DJI side of things. So, for instance, if I go on HD0, the VTXs, I've started to upload images that I've been taking of the boards, just so there is a reference for us as we move forward. So we've got the HD0 Race VTX, we've got the updated Whoop board, and we've got the 500 milliwatt. And if we look on the 500 milliwatt, again, you have this dual setup. So you can see we've got the 2 power amplifiers here. You've got the splitter filter. So the RF is actually coming up from here. So you can see the RF is coming up this side here, moving through this preamplifier and back out to the filter, and then that split between the 2, coming down the matching circuit, recombined, and then out to the MMCX connector. So it's a very similar setup they're using on this other VTX again. You can see you've got, again, the chipset coming down, the filter, split, coming out, joined, and back out to the UFL. So it is going to be interesting to see. And when we do get this one released, I will be stripping it and I will be putting images on repair.wiki, as I've been uploading already. I've been putting those ones on there. I've also been putting the Scout HD ones up that I took just to show the PCB. And I've been uploading some of the DJI stuff as well, including common issues. Obviously, the diode repair on the Vista, showing you guys how to repair that. And the diode repair on the DJI Air unit and the Vista as well. And I've been putting all of that up on repair.wiki too. Just coming back up to the chat. So it's going to be interesting to see with this new VTX. I do believe Sats FPV is redoing the video, and it's going to be interesting to see where that ends up. This VTX is a bit of a crunch point because people are expecting an awful lot from this. And my only caution is the fundamentals of this remain the same, in the sense of it doesn't retransmit. So when data's gone, it's gone. So when you do go past a piece of concrete, if that packet isn't received, it will show breakup. It will break up. Whereas DJI has the ability to send that packet again. And if you're not doing a maneuver at the time, you might not actually feel the latency, although you will see maybe it break up a little bit. So DJI is still going to have the legs in areas where 5.8 gigs just can't get through. And I do think it's going to be interesting to see how this one behaves. But I'm looking forward to getting it. I'm looking forward to testing it for myself. There is also some interesting comments been made, and I saw a real interesting one actually about HD0 breakup. And what the person said is there any way, rather than it going to fuzz, is hold the last pixel? So only overwrite with proper data, not lost data. Which I did think was rather interesting, but I don't know if that could be done. So, catching up on the chat. How could HD0 not deliver? I was flying over the hill chasing dirt bikes, and my analog setup was working way better than DJI or HD0 in that situation. Among reviewers. Sounds like the next professionalism debate among reviewers. Yeah, I put a couple of comments on JB's. It's getting interesting on that side of it. Analog will never be finishing until it's cheaper. Analog goes from a few sparkles to loss in just under 2 frames. Analog is far more linear. I prefer the analog breakup to Fashy HD0 from what I've seen. HD0 should have sent in the VTX what was ready to go. Did start to wait before doing the test, or was it right after? I believe he was lent a unit. Look, it's hard to say. Look, I'm not going to comment because HD0 are putting units in the hands of people they want to put them in, not everyone else. This next week, you're going to see so many reviews on these units because they're coming in the next 5 to 7 days. I've got one ordered, but I don't know when it's going to arrive. I believe Evan Turner's guys have got them in stock. They've had them early, and they're shipping the first batch out now. So you'll see people getting them in the next week. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that and how people perceive it. But you're going to see a slew of real user content in the next couple of weeks. There's no frame bump on HD0. No, there isn't, unfortunately, and that's part of the problem. Save the cameras. Just catching down on the chat. CFS was great, better to, but no RC system can really do good range at knee level. No. Shame about the UFL. Yeah, I do wonder with an RX. I don't know. I dislike MMCX as much as I dislike UFL. I'm not a big fan of either, if I'm honest. There is an argument to be said, should they gone for full SMA? I'd love to see a smaller... Is there a smaller SMA, Bruce? A real small one? You know what I mean? A screw-on type with the centre pin. There's got to be smaller versions of SMA, isn't there? We'd like to see. what I was saying is, it's going to be interesting. So I believe Sats is going to redo his video, but you're going to end type for the win. Yeah. PL259 on the back of it, please. Can we have a PL259 on the back of the HD0? For those who know what a PL259 is. Good evening, Failsafe. Yeah, there are other... what would be nice is a proper screw, you know, a very small... Well, you've got... I'm trying to think. I've seen a small one. I have seen a studio picture looks nice and bright. Power button seems a bit sticky on occasion. Stays pressed in. Is it normal? No, mine doesn't stay in. SMB. Yeah, there must be a smaller one. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Can anyone remember for anyone in the chat who knows what a PL259 is? I'm going to have to put it up now. For anyone who knows, PL259 is a fantastic connector. For those old radio guys, this is an RF connector. None of this MMCX nonsense, right? That is an RF connector. That is a proper RF connector. None of this SMA nonsense. When you have to get one of these, you have to screw them on from the back and then solder through the pin in the middle. Get some RG 218 or RG6 through that, it'll be fine. Proper RF connector. CQDX, it should be 163 Delta Tango 220 calling. My X4 button don't stay in. It's slow but never locked. O4X, let's have a look. No, mine is a very clicky button. So just to give you an idea what mine is, so the power button, just to put it next to it. Very clicky, no sticking at all. That's what mine is like. I hope that helps. Doesn't sound great if it's sticky. It should be mine is a very much a tactile feel. I'll be interested to know, if you got yours in the UK, can you tell us what firmware version yours is showing? Because mine are actually version 3s, although they have a sticker on that says version 2s. Brilliant. You gotta love it, and you. I'd love to know your firmware versions. I wonder if you got version 2s or 3s in the UK. No sound or click. That's a little bit worrying. If you've got no sound or click, yeah, my focus was on auto, so it should focus in a second. Give it a chance. There you go. You know, it's hard. It moves, but as you can hear, it's a proper click from mine. But yours might have a different button, so take that into account. I must hold it in for some seconds. Yeah, I've got to hold mine in, but it does click. But these are version 3s. Have a look at your firmware versions and post what firmware versions yours are. Most important one, let me find my phone a minute, and I'll tell you which one I'm interested in. Try it now. It's click. Have a look. Fire them on and go into the About screen. And what I'd like to know, what we need to be cool to know is... Let me just find the note I created. Oh, I swear I created a note with this on. Oh, actually, did my wife message it to me? I messaged it to my wife. Right, hardware version. If you look at the hardware version on yours, so you've got firmware 1, FW1, FW2, oh, FW1, FW2, and HW. But yeah, what's your FW1 number? I'd love to know what that one is, because that'll tell us if it's a version 2 or 3. But we'll talk about that in a minute. So, on the HD0, that's the score. We'll wait for the VTXs. Never know, mine may come this week. I don't know. The pre-order's in. I've paid. It's all done and dusted. I will be doing a video on it, but I'm probably not going to do a complete wiring review and all of them, because it's at the stage of when other people have done such a good job on it, why do the same thing? And it's like the Zorro. But we will be tearing it down. We will be doing some stuff. I am, as I've said, putting a lot more stuff on repair.wiki. They should have used an OSSP. What's an OSSP? Bruce, let's have a look. OSSP connector. Let's have a look at that. OSSP. Ooh, what's that? I've not seen that one. So, okay. So that's that one out the way. As I said, we'll have to wait and see what comes on with the VTXs. Something I have spotted, and I'm going to just quickly mention on this, is on that video. So let me just bring it back up. He was showing it on the frame, and it in some fitting, in some not. Let me just get to that point where he shows that. He does a great job of showing it. It doesn't want to go into this frame. I know he said it did go into that frame. There was a frame he showed it wouldn't go into. Ah, yeah, this one here. There we go. It wouldn't go into this frame because of the bars around it. I think it is. Yeah, you can see them there, around the corners. Now, I do wonder, and this would be dodgy ground because you'd have to be very careful not to bridge layers and hope that there are no tracks routed around here. But I do wonder, looking at these images, what the possibility of trimming the corners on this board would be. Down here, down here, down here, and here. So if you did want to trim it, let's go for a draw. Let's so if we begin to zoom in, that's no good. Let's go to red. So if we, you could cut it there, and obviously there. I would think that would be interesting. Oh God, go away. It's not letting me do that. But you could trim it on the sides, and it'll be interesting to see if that could be done. I don't know what's on the other side to see what is over there. But I would like to think if it's like this on both sides, there is a possibility to trim this. Be a brave person to do it, but there is a possibility it could be done. That may avoid your warranty. Just said that. Hey, Peppermint. Firmware 0102. 0102. Which one is that? Is that the firmware 1 number? Is that firmware 2? Because you got 3. You got FW1, FW2, and HW. What's your FW1? 02004. Just catching down on the chat. They should have viewed OSP connector. Hi, mate. Not sure about that, but it'd be interesting to see on the that may void your warranty. How to trim the phone? Just rotate 5 degrees. Yeah, it's another good point. Just rotate. You could just rotate, but it does make you wonder. Now, obviously, what you can see is the screws to hold the heat sinks are actually there. But if you were bolting it in, a frame, you could use them to hold the heat sinks in place. But if I just put that full, you can see that the screws for the heat sink are there and there. But it could be done. It could be done. Where there's a will, there's a way. Will it fit? Will it blend is the question. So, that's that one. It's a fantastic review. Please do check it out. Giant Ant Cowboy. Absolutely stonking video. Really is. Really, really is. Okay, guys. If you've got any questions, please do put them in the chat. If you want to know anything. 3D mount and rotate it. Yeah, I do agree. That would be a good way of doing it. And I'll be honest, you'd protect that side-on connector a little bit as well. Literally nothing an angle grinder won't fix, Bruce. And the nice thing by rotating it is it does protect it. Nano time. We'll come to the nano in a minute. Okay, so the next thing to talk about, which is probably this is going to be a bit of a controversial one because this will probably upset someone, i.e. Orqa, but I'm going to do it anyway. Now, for those who saw, I did my review 3.46 version 3s. I did my review on the Orqa FPV-1 pilots, and then I did the second video talking about the use of it with HD0. Something I found quite interesting as well on those videos is the amount of people who ask comments of, did you get sent these by Orqa for free or did you pay for these? I've never had so many people accost me on that. Now, they were lent to me by the amazing Peppermint Pilot, who is in the chat here tonight. So thank you, Peppermint. But it's just interesting the amount of people who have said that. It really, really is. But anyway, I want to talk about Orqa and pricing, because there's been a lot of talk and hoo-ha and comments around Orqa's pricing. JB put his video out on it the other day, and price again was a major factor. And it's quite interesting to see some observations, because you had Orqa complaining on their Discord that they feel at times misrepresented by creators, not correctly saying the pricing. You have JB mention pricing. You've had a lot of users in my own comments mention about pricing. In fact, the very comment I was talking about just now, saying, did I get them for free, was talking about pricing again. And it is interesting when you look at it, and I do think Orqa have a problem here, and that problem is there is a very real perception that these goggles are overly expensive. And they've actually done this partly themselves by having it in this sort of kit setup on what you want. So, for instance, you can buy the goggles, the FPV module, and then you need to buy a receiver. Now, before anyone says it, I know Fat Shark don't include a receiver with their goggles. However, the standard here for pricing should not be Fat Shark. The standard should be Skyzone, because frankly, that is where the high-end, lower prices, and I'm not saying Orqa can't be more expensive, but what I'm saying is Orqa's pricing structure is putting people off. Now, what I mean by that is this. If we go onto Orqa's website, right, and have a look at the pricing for these goggles. Now, I need to move because the price is right under me. Well, there you go. Let me move out the way a little bit. Sorry about that. The pricing is there, right next to me. So, at the moment, we've got the Orqa goggles and the FPV Connect module, and we've got it in Australia. Now, if we look in the US, at the moment, the price is $567 for the Orqa goggles and an additional 68 goggles for the Connect module. If we look at that in Australia, which is where one of the complaints was that their pricing wasn't being reflected properly, if we put that into Australian dollars, it's $785 plus $95 for the module. That's basically $900. And one of Orqa's complaints was that they're not being represented properly and the pricing isn't being shown correctly. Yet that's nearly $1,000. If we actually look at one of Orqa's dealers, they've got a dealer in Australia, which is Next FPV. And again, look, the goggles are $900 with this dealer. They're out of stock at the moment, but they are $900, and they're charging another $99 for the Connect module, which makes them $1,000. So this is a very real problem for them. If we go over to in the US, the goggles themselves, $569 plus $69 for the Connect module makes it $637. And it is putting them in a difficult position, especially if I search for Skyzone, right? And have a look at the O4Xs, they're coming in at $529, and this isn't even with a receiver on the Orqas. So I think, I'll be honest, Orqa have a bit of a problem, and they're creating it, and plus VAT in the US, plus taxes in the US. They are creating this perception quite rightly, and I think users are complaining about this, that the product's expensive because, you know, to get the full product, you're having to buy these two modules separately. Now, I don't understand why this FPV Connect module is costing $70. And I'll say this now, because if we have a look at this, we've got a chipset, We've got another chipset, and is the RF chipset. There's obviously something else here. Is that a chipset or a sticker? Looks like, I'm not sure what that is. And then we got the antenna connection for the Wi-Fi. I can get a ExpressLRS receiver for like $12, which is basically a Wi-Fi device. My Mambo comes with Wi-Fi built in. There are $10 devices that add Wi-Fi. So why are Orqa charging $70+ for it? And I do think this is giving them a perception problem, because without the module, it's no extra features other than the DVR recording HDMI and the audio that the Skyzone have. And that's the space for attaching the Ghost. That's right. Sorry, I'd forgotten about that. Hence the Ghost sticker. So yeah, this is just a Wi-Fi module. At the end of the day, this is just a Wi-Fi module. And why is this an extra? Why is this adding so much more? I know Orqa are a European company, which means their costs are going to be much higher. I understand that. However, there is this feeling with the Orqas that you are going to be spending, $500-600, £500-600 on the goggles, another $100 dollars on the module, or $60 to $100, and then potentially upwards of $130 on a receiver. Now, coming across, there is an argument to be said, well, most people will have their own receiver, but I don't think most of the people who are buying the Orqas are upgrading from Skyzone's O4Xs or HDO2s. The chances are the people who are upgrading will be coming from lower-end goggles and may not have that high-quality receiver. And if you want the best goggles, you're going to want to get yourself the best receiver. And the reality is the Orqas, with it, are going to cost more. And that's the problem they're facing. They are a very, very, very good goggle. There is no question about that. But they are beginning to have a problem where everyone is saying they're just too expensive. And I think that's an issue they're going to struggle to get past. I would love to have had the Orqas. There's that one feature I think, but I cannot justify the £200 more plus that it would have been for them over the Skyzones that I ordered. And that is the reality of the situation. And I think that's the reality for most people. So I don't know what Orqa are going to do. I'm not saying it's a bad product. I think it's a really good product. I think they are very, very, very good goggles. But they need to do something on this pricing. They need to get that module built in. Personally, I think the Connect module should be part of the system, period. Just put it in there, bundle it in, job done. And even if they have to toss in a cheap receiver, a basic receiver, they work with Immersion RC, a single input basic receiver to get people working, I do think that would improve things. I really do. I'm not saying they have to bundle in rapid fire for this cost, but I do think they would be better coming up with a special receiver with a single input for people who could buy it, and then way off compared to the Skyzones what the benefits are. So, for instance, the Skyzones get the dual receiver, the Orqas have a single receiver, but the Orqas can do this, that, and that. And I think if they were able to come up with a very cheap but good basic, doesn't have to be diversity, standard receiver, I think they would do okay. Just catching up on the charts they made, which were too awful to sell. I will swap the Orqas for your O4Xs. The tunnel vision put you off. Small FPV is far. The smaller field of view you get used to really quickly. The Skyzones... Okay, the Skyzones still have that tunneling effect, but it's much less noticeable. So, this has led me on very nicely to the Skyzone. So you want me to talk about the Skyzone. So, Orqa, I think, have a bit of a problem. They should bundle in a receiver. Some initial thoughts on the O4Xs. So, they came in this week. Let's get that up and let's get onto full screen. The O4Xs came this week. I went with the silvers. I wasn't sure what color to go with, but I ended up going with the silvers. About only one thing I was disappointed with on the Skyzones is they didn't include a cleaning cloth for the lenses. I thought that was a bit poor. It would have been nice if there was a cleaning cloth included, just for the cost. You know, premium goggle cloth would have been good. Cleaning cloth. Ew, silver. Silvery gold. It's very nice. I like it. It's like titanium. Silver. It's really nice. So it's a goldy silver. We've got the 2 wheels on the sides. They feel nice. Plastics are good. The fan housing's good. Buttons feel good. Nice and solid. The controls down here are fine. Everything's laid out fine. I have zero... Yes, champagne. That's right. You've got it, Carl. Definitely champagne. Overall fit and feel is very nice. The goggles are very nice. They did come with a couple of marks on the plastics. Like here on the faceplate and here. It's a little annoyance, you know. We're in comfort, they're fine, although I am feeling... Where I've stuck the Velcro on, it's sort of resting on my nose a little bit here. I need to sort of adjust this slightly. So I need to do that and sort of bring that to the edge. I was feeling the sharpness of the Velcro. I may end up having to trim it with a knife a little bit. What I did was come a bit too close to the edge of the goggle to the piece. But they're very good. They fit nice. The strap is good. I've got no complaints with the goggles at all. A couple of little things I will mention is the receiver is very easy to pull out. So it latches in, so the cover goes on, and let me just clip it back in. But when you're messing with aerials, one complaint I can see is the receiver, when you put, adjusting aerials, it will come loose like that, which is the fan loud. Keep an eye out, fans often get very noisy. It's not too bad on mine. But obviously I'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, just a bit careful when you're doing antennas. It's easy for it to move. I thought that was a bit poor, with the original Skyzone module. As it says there, they are Skyzone O4X's version 2s, but they're actually version 3s. For those who don't know, the version 3s have a different CPU apparently because of the chip shortage, but there's no other changes other than that. Chris, I haven't tried the foam. You are right. I should try that. Power button is on the side there. What I will say on the goggles is this. Image quality, I really like. Screen's fantastic. They are those tubular lenses, so I still see a little bit of that tunneling effect, but it is not as bad as the Orqas. The Orqas was a lot worse. I got used to it, but it was a lot worse. The field of view is substantially bigger than the Orqas. There's no question about that. It is big. And it is, you could argue, is it too big? I think it's fine for me. But I got used to the Orqas. No problem at all. I have zero complaints. I'm getting used to the menus. They work absolutely fine. I think the only real complaint I would have on these goggles would actually be the manual and no real good explanation of all of the different settings for the module. Because you've got mix 1, 2, and 3. You've got diversity mode. And then I think you've got single mode on the receiver. And there's no description of what mix 1, 2, or 3 does in the manual. And I think my biggest complaint would be the Chinglish manual. That's the biggest complaint I would lay at the goggles. It's that simple. I'm really pleased. I really am very, very pleased. I've printed the HD0 mount for it. And if you guys haven't seen this, there's a mount which you can print at a TPU that fits over the fan housing. So you very carefully sort of stretch it over the top of the fan housing. Push it down to the bottom. And that goes on and holds the HD0 module on the front of the goggles. I need to put a bit of foam on this now to stop it damaging the front of the goggles, just to stop it scratching. I'm going to just put like some foam on this just to do that, to stop that, so it just rests like that. And it, for me, is that simple. You know, that's as quick release as I need. Someone says there is a quick release mount as well. Have you got a link to it? But yeah, I really can't complain. Other than the Chinglish manual, there is nothing not to like on these goggles so far. The manual, that's all, compared to the Fat Shark. Yeah, literally, that's all I can complain. Fan noise is okay on them. It's not bad. It's nothing compared to DJI. The DJI ones are much louder. Absolutely fine. Even the Orcas are quite loud. And you only got someone waiting for DJI still unlocked. Yeah, so, yeah, they're a very, very good goggle. And, you know, having tested Peppermint's Orcas, which I really liked. I really, really liked them. It is hard for me. Do they still have that awesome Batman symbol on the fan? On the fan itself or the cover? I've got no symbol on the cover. Guess what a German manual looks like once the Chinglish ones are being translated into German. It's... I'd say I would say if I think casing wise, I think probably the Orcas are a bit more resilient. I think the Orcas probably would hold up better, scratches, knocks and things. This is very nice, okay, but I think it is going to mark very easily. You know, there's a mark there where the plastics have gone together already. That's not me, that's them. You know, there's the molding line on the front. I do think this will probably mark up very, very easily. The Orcas felt more resilient on the outside than these. The Orcas just, you know, that hardish plastic with that sort of had that thing effect to it. Bumpy effect. I think the Orcas are probably going to hold up more, but other than that, I'm more than pleased with these goggles. I think what I would say is this: Orcas are very good for these. Chinglish manual and the fact they didn't include a cleaning cloth, that would be for the price they are. The durability of the finish on these I wouldn't say is good. My HDO2s are starting to squeak. I chipped mine the first time I dropped them. Skyzone quoted £30 delivered for a full shell. That's not bad. So you can reshell them for $30. That's okay. Let's put that there a sec. But the case does look quite nice. The case is tidy as well. It looks like a Fat Shark case, I'll be honest with you. It's if you've ever had a case from Fat Shark, it's basically the same thing. It says Skyzone on the top. It's got that sort of look to it, you know, where you move it around. Fairly good. Yeah, it's pretty decent. There's certainly no complaints, put it that way. Does anyone know where Mix 1, 2, and 3 differ? So the basics are the Mix 1, 2, and 3 are, as I've understood this, they are different versions or modes of their dual mixing video system. You should start at 3, which is the most. If that doesn't work, move down to 2, then move down to 1. That's what I've read it to be. So 3 should be the best possible performance, but that can cause problems with some cameras. If it does, move down to 2, and if that doesn't work, move down to 1 or move over to diversity. But you should start on Mix 3. That is what I've understood it to be. I found only a couple of cameras didn't work. Chinglish counting 3, 2, 1. Yeah, so 3 I think is the most common setting people use. 3 would be the one everyone uses for the most part. One with FPV. Good evening. How do I set up Blackbox 60 meg to only use with gyro flow as much flight as possible? Okay, I am not the biggest expert at Betaflight logging. Now in ArdraPilot, very intuitive. can you set what you want to log in Betaflight or not? Or is it just login? Yeah, I think I need to check. I'm not sure. Alderman, yeah, different cameras. Basically, what I believe is the case is 3 is the most mixing. Gyro scaling. So what would you just log gyro scaling? Turn off logging and put it on debug for gyro scaling. That makes sense. Yeah. So put it on, turn off black box. Should we plug one in? Turn off black box and turn on gyro scaling. They will fit, Chris. Other modules will fit, just not under the standard cover. It is a bit tight with other modules, as I understood it. I think you've got to trim something on one of them, but I do believe, they will fit. 3D printed quick race. Oh, we'll have a look at that now, Carl. Thank you, mate. If we plug in Betaflight, we're gonna. Let me open Betaflight. This one's got built-in storage as well, so close, connect, CLI, black box. So what would you so off the top of my head, just remind me, guys, on this. It's been a while. So would you turn off login? So you would disable login, but set the debug mode. Is that right? Nurk is definitely the person to go to on Gyroflow. I'm guessing you would go disable and then set this to gyro scaled. If that's right. So that way it's not logging all of the sensors, but it will log debug mode. Gyro is always logged. Because I'm guessing you've got to turn off login. Or would you turn off logging there? I'm not 100% on that one. Someone will chirp up in a minute. I'll have to have a look at that one myself, actually. So, that is, that's the Skyzones. There really isn't anything to complain about. They are a very, very good set of goggles. Now, guys, if you've got any questions, yeah, I wouldn't. My understanding is that Fusion doesn't physically fit in the O4X, but could be wrong. But it was. I thought someone had fitted one. I thought the Fusion did go in the Skyzone O4Xs. Let me just have a look. I thought you had to trim something. Wait there, let's just have a look. Oh, let's say. I'm just reading here. Oh, there's a video on it apparently. I thought they would go in, but you had to. I thought you had, not the Orcas. Fusion goes in. You can put the Fusion into the Orcas. You just have to have a printed cover. TBS Fusion in O4X. Let's just check that. Does not fit the module bay. It's just been discussed here. There are reports that rapid fire module fits. Oh, they're saying rapid fire fits, but okay. So Oh, so on the Fusion, you've got to add a second pin header. That's a bit of a mod, isn't it? He's had to extend the pin header to get it to fit on the Fusion. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I wouldn't be changing for the Fusion if we were going to put in rapid fire. Apparently, rapid fire fits. So, O4X rapid fire. I believe the rapid fire. You can get the second module and do it that way. On Reddit. No one's said anything there. Images. Anything? It does look like you can get a rapid fire in. It does look like the rapid fire will go. It's the other one that won't. It sticks out too far. Okay. Because we can get the cover. But yeah, you could put in the dual ones. Quadversity, just a gimmick. Yeah, you can get the Quadversity with two different modules. No, it would have to be the official modules to do Quadversity. Rogue started add-ons everywhere. Yeah, you can have the Quadversity modules, and the modules are quite cheap. The modules aren't that expensive on it. I suppose the advantage to the double module would be that you could literally run 4 different styles of antennas. That's the big option. So you could have 2 patches and get a lot of, as Bruce has just said, the Quadversity is about, I would say it would be about antennas more than benefit of the modules. It's going to give you far more options on the antennas. I believe it's a good modular. It's only been flying on the Whoop, and I've had no issues. Yeah, you can get high antennas on both sides, and that way you could have completely different directions, different angles. Yeah. So that's the advantage to it. And it helps balance them. If you're using large antennas, it would be easier to balance with one on either side than one heavy one on one side. That will have an effect too. 412 twin hexels. Yeah, that will make a difference. That really will. 2 Yagis, 2 Omnis. Yeah. Yeah, balance would help with some of these big antennas too. I think it's more about, I think it would be more beneficial if you're going to hang big antennas on them. Big antennas. Yeah, Chris, it was a good setup having one on each side. These modules, it's even a compromise on these modules, just trying to get 2 antennas next to each other. I did find it with even on the Skyzones that it's a bit of a pain. Debug mode, none. Okay, that should... That makes a lot of sense. That does make a lot of sense. Okay, guys, right. The final thing I'm going to talk about quickly is this. I've not found... Yeah, I have read a lot of that, Rishi. I do think there has been people who've had problems, people who haven't. It doesn't seem like I'm having issues. Right, let me just jump onto the Discord because someone shared a quick release bracket on the Discord. Okay. Ooh, let's have a look at this, shall we? Is there a link to that bracket? Is it... Carl, is it on Thingiverse? If we just take a look at this. Use the video with the quick... I like this. Look at this, guys. Quick release HD0 bracket. Now that I like. That I like. Go to 1080p, please. There we go. So. That I like. That's very good. That is very, very good indeed. So is that on Thingiverse? Can't post it. It was. I looked earlier and couldn't find it. Should we have a look on Thingiverse for that? I like that. I like that indeed. Anyone ever find Thingiverse is so slow? So we'll search first of all Skyzone HD0. Well, that don't work. Let's try both of these and then we'll go over to Sharkbite. Now, we'll try Sharkbite as one word first. That's the one I've... That's not that one. That's the one I've got already. Not that one, not that one, not that one. Let's try it with a space. It's not none of these. Sharkbite O4X, not coming up. Sharkbite quick release. We're just not finding anything. I don't know why. I noticed this the other day. Sharkbite just uploading one to OneDrive. Oh, thanks, mate. I noticed this the other day that very little was coming up under Sharkbite when I was searching. Very little indeed. Just scrolling down. Orqa brackets. More for fat sharks. Let's have a look. Just use Velcro and hot glue. Now, let's go to next. Just seeing if we happen to see it at all. No. No, whatever it's hiding, PM on Discord. Thank you, mate. I do appreciate it. Let's have a look. Discord. That's really very, very nice. Where's the option to download? Oh, there. Yes. WinRAR. Extract. Do that. Open them up. Should we open Prusa Slicer? Has anyone here done the new upgrade on Prusa on their printer? I haven't. Let's bring that in. Let's have a look. There we go. Auto sort. Well, we're not going to want to print it that way, are we? That's not a good idea. So that one will be fine. I like that indeed. That is good. So that's the fan housing and quick release. And then we're going to want to print this one. So we're going to want to print this one. What do we think? No. Yeah. 90. But it's not going to be 90, so it's going to be 20. Don't think that's the, yeah, is it? No. Minus 10. No. If anyone knows a way to get Prusa to put something level, let me know. When you got it like this. I don't know if that's on the bed now or not. I don't think it is. Is there a way? I don't know a way to print to get Prusa Slicer to put something flat to the bed the way I want it to be. I always struggle with that. If anyone's got any ideas, let me go to the chat. Button on the left side of the screen. Rotate to face. Click the place on the face. Where are they? Oh, what are you saying? Where are they? Where are they? I'll go to... That's slick. I like it. Right. Click the place on the face button. Where's place on the face button? Oh, is there one of these over here? Ah! Who knew? Of all of the time I've been using this, I didn't know about that. I always sit here struggling. So where are they? Pick the face I want. Oh, that's ridiculous. Why have I not known that before now? Here we go. I've never known that. To be honest, right? I never really noticed that side. Paint on support. What we got over here? Seam painting. Cut. Yeah. Rotate. Yeah. Scale. And move. Didn't really even notice them over there. To be honest, I've probably always got something over that part of the screen. I use my printer all of the time. I mean, like, continuously. However, I always rotate stuff by hand as I was doing there and get it leveled just as I want it. Hey all, I'm driving. I may. Yeah, that just shows I learned something tonight. Oh, that's funny. That is too funny. That really is. That's a really nice bracket. That is. Now, we don't want to print it in TPU. We're going to print that in PETG. Should we do it in Prusament Orange PETG? It'll be in PETG, and it would be... we're going to do this. We're going to do this nice. We're going 0.1 detail if we're going to do this. What's the slicing on that? We're going to want more infill in that as well. Let's go for 30%. Slice now. It's going to need supports in... Will it need supports in there? Actually, if you print it... yeah, it's going to need damn supports, isn't it? That is definitely going to need supports. Okay, I'll have a look at that in a minute. Oh, wrong button. Champagne orange. Good night all. Stay safe, GMI. So, okay. The last thing I'm going to talk about is this. I finally got to fly the Autel this week. Only quickly. Didn't get much of a chance to play with it, but I got to put some flight time on the Evo. And I have to say, I am super, super impressed with this little drone. I will say that. I am, from an image quality point of view, I'm blown away, actually. I really am. From a flight behavior, it flies as good as any of the others. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to really... There's nothing to complain about. It flies fairly well. Range is decent. Object sensors work. I'll be honest, I don't have any interest in object sensors anymore on drones. I just don't. I don't do stuff that requires them, but they work absolutely fine in my testing. The smart shots work really well. It flies really well. It is a very, very good drone. Now, my initial test this week, I recorded a bunch of footage, but most of it was in H.264, not H.265, so I want to try and record more to have a look at the H.264 versus H.265. I think what I did notice in some of the footage was the 1080p doesn't look as good as I expected it to. The 4K looks really, really good. However, the 1080p was worse than I expected, actually. DJI's 1080p tends to look really good on their drones, and sometimes I've been disappointed by their 4K, whereas this was opposite. The 4K looks absolutely stunning. The stills look really good. The overall flight performance of the drone is very good. A drone this size and weight is almost perfect, I will be honest. Flight time on this, for the size of the battery, is crazy. That's the battery. That's all it is. And the flight time on this thing, it just went on forever. It really did. I will be doing my review on it. It isn't going to be a full review. It's going to be more thoughts than anything, because I'm going to try and do like a bench overview and then talk a bit about it. I'm getting limited flight time because I need to get it back to Dave, and the weather has been shocking. I'm away for a few days. I'm hoping to hold on to it for a few more days, Dave, and I'll message you later. But I have to say, I am blown away by this little drone. I really, really am blown away by this little drone. I can't say 100% it's, dramatically better than a Mavic Mini 2. I can't really say that. But for what it is very, very good. And if you're looking for like the smallest possible drone with object avoidance sensors, this is it right now. How are the stills? The stills are really good, Jimenez. Let me just open a folder. So we have the Nano Plus, DCIM, images. So let me go up here. So the stills on this aircraft are very, very good. So this is a still image from the Mini, just of open air. It's 12 megapixel. It's nothing special. But when you zoom in, it does hold up very nicely. It doesn't look particularly noisy. It just holds up very well. It really does hold up very well indeed. There's tons of detail on it. Yes, we're zooming right in here, so obviously this will all turn to mush, as we would expect, because it is still only 12 megapixel. But it does look very, very good. It really does. I've got no complaints on the overall image quality. Let me just go through a few others. There's another one there looking down the beach. It's clear, it's crisp. Things look very, very nice indeed. In many ways, it handles the noise a bit better than the aircraft I've seen from DJI recently. It does a real nice job in 4K as well of recording the footage. The image quality is very, very good. It really is. I was just doing some low-level flights across as the tide was coming in, because I use the tide moving in to sort of just look at how it handles the movement of the water and stuff like that. And it's really clean. It really looks very, very good. So much so, I really don't have any complaints. Let me just get past this. The image quality is really quite crisp. It does a great job of dealing with the difference in light as well. I don't think this is in HDR mode. I need to go back and have a look at some of the settings for HDR mode. But overall, I have to say, I'm quite impressed with how well it performs. It just looks very, very good overall. I'd be more than happy with it from a basic image grading point of view. It looks decent. It really does. Also, there's this nice little feature which has got zoom, and what I found interesting is this, right? So this is the first image, and it's got then a zoom which you can add to it. So that's the first image, and then this is the zoomed image from the drone. So this is digital zoom. And what I found interesting was comparing the digital zoom to the manual zoomed. So that is the digital zoomed image. I took 3 at exactly the same point. So that is the digital zoomed image there, which I'll place there. And then this is the zoomed in, obviously, on the computer. Let's just size it about the same, about there. And what I will say is the digital zoomed image, having zoomed in a lot, so if we zoom in a lot to the digital zoom and a lot to, let's just get them the same, a lot to the standard one, the digital zoom actually looks a tad better. It seems to process a bit better on the digital zoom than manual zooming. Don't get me wrong, it's all mush at this point, but just from a pixel peeping point of view, the digital does look better. The zoom on it, obviously, compared to that. So fairly good on that. Another shot there. It does look very, very good overall. Really no complaints from the image quality. The camera is a bit of a gem on this drone. It really is. Rumors Mini 3 will come out. It is almost guaranteed the Mini 3 will come out with front and rear object avoidance sensors. Got the Mini 2 and I don't miss object sizes I had in the air. Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't think a lot of people will. I don't think a lot of people will miss. Rumors Mini 3. But yeah, it's got geofencing. Rather pay the extra for the Autel. Yeah, no geofencing. That's the big one. That suit does not look like a beach. It's sort of a beach. It looks really nice. The image quality looks really good. I will be honest. Just catch it down in chat. These aren't cheap. The Autel Nano is... It's A2 money. This, I think, is £700 odd at the moment for this kit. The Fly More kit, I think, is £800. You know, the kit I've got comes with the extra batteries, which is on loan. You're paying for the camera and the object sensors over the Mini 2. Their radio system seems very good. At times a little bit choppy, but overall very good. I like the Autel app. The Autel app, if you've ever flown an older DJI drone, you will get on with it like a house on fire. You really will get on with it like a house on fire. You will find your way around it, no problem at all. I think the app is very, very good. I do think, whilst this is a very good drone, I think just like the Orcas, the price is a problem. For some. If you don't want geofencing, let me just get to my... Where's my screen? There it is. If you don't want geofencing, then that extra money will be worth its weight in gold. It's part... The band sweeping, Chris, is part of the specification, apparently, of the LT standard, the radio standard it uses, apparently. I haven't dug into it too much more, but I did get some messages back from Philip on what they're doing on Hearlink. For real, never seen a chop with a Mini 2. Seriously, amazing. A little bit at times. A little bit. DJI's own link will be, you know, OcuSync is light years ahead of everyone. The image quality, though, is outstanding on the RC. On my iPhone, it looks amazing. Just the odd time I noticed a stutter. That's all. Just a little stutter. I think the drone is fantastic. I think the problem is convincing people to spend this much money on this size of drone. Let's just price it a sec. I think that is the difficulty. So if we go over to it and we go South Wales drones.co.uk, where's Dave's website? Has Dave got it on his website now? Let's have a look, Dave. Have you got it on here? You better have it, Dave. I won't be happy, Dave, if you haven't added it. I did tell you last week. He's still not done it, is he? Where they? No, he hasn't. Okay, so Evo Nano Plus. Okay. So at Wex, it is £859. DJI.com. It's a lot of money. You know, there is no question about that. If we go to the A2 Air, A2 is how much now? Let's just go by now. Let's have a look. Fly More is between the pricing. So the Fly More on the A2S is $949 compared in the UK to $859. So you are paying £100 more for the A2S. But that's with the 1-inch sensor. It's a hard one, isn't it? It really is a hard one. They don't really have much in this category, DJI, you know, because you're then down to the Mini 2, which just comes... That's not the A2S. No, that's the... Oh, that's right there. That's the A2. The A2S is due, isn't it? Mavic. Mini A2S. Mavic A2. Sorry, wait there. Yeah, A2 is 949. 48 megapixels. Sorry, it's not there. Sorry, I was reading down there. Sorry. Yeah, the standard sensor. A2 949. So it's cheaper than the A2. And it is basically an A2, just in that size. It is basically an A2 in that size. You know, 34 minutes, 5 times 48. The only thing it can't do is do 4K 60. That's the only thing it can't do. It doesn't have active track neither. It doesn't have tracking. It has object avoidance, but it doesn't have tracking. So, but you're paying £100 more for this. So it does sit in that category, but I do think it's hard to justify like £700-800 on a drone that small. You know, it does feel quite cheap. That's the A2. It does in the sense of the plastics are really thin, but they've got to do that to keep the weight down. You know, it's still below 249 grams. You know, this drone does sit between the Mini 2 and the A2 from a specification point of view, from a price point of view. So, yeah, I'm not saying it's expensive. I just think £800 or something this small is at times hard to justify as well. And there are some quirks. There are some stuff that I think could be better. The remote is one of them. The remote is very good. But as for those who do know, there's no way to store the sticks on them. The remote also has a really funny angle for the remote. This needs to tilt. This doesn't tilt up. So for those who don't know, that's the device holder. But so when you're flying like this, your phone is flat to you. Now, it was okay on the Mavic remotes where your phone was down here because you can sort of do that and it's all right. But I found it quite just not particularly comfortable with it there because you're sort of like that, having to look at it and you're bringing it in closer. What you naturally want to do is that, but then your fingers are on a funny angle for the sticks. So what I found is I want to fly like that, but the angle of your phone is now like that, which means it's not comfortable. So this, in my opinion, should tilt up. My camera's gone off above. Let me just turn that. Has that gone off? My overhead's playing up at the moment. I don't know why. It'll come back on now. 1 second. Here we go. So, as I said, so, yeah, if it's like that, where am I? There, your angle is off. You're not quite where you want to be, and you want to be holding it like that, but it's just not comfortable. Then, so, yeah, that is about one complaint I've got with the remote controller. It's got no way to hold the sticks, and I'd like a few more function buttons on it, if I'm honest, for that money. But it's a very, very good drone. It is a very, very, very good drone. if you're after the lightest one, it'll be interesting to see what DJI do for the money. Someone in the UX department dropped the ball. It just feels off. It does. It said you bring it in close to you and you can do that, and it's like that. Speed wise, it's fine. They've resolved all of those issues around the speed differences for people, so that's all back to normal. Don't worry, it's got the full speed that Autel originally stated. They've adjusted the software. You've got 3 flying modes, and again, I really like it. I would prefer, though, here is one thing I will say. I am a little disappointed that there's no mode switch on the remote. And the reason I say this is this. The reason I say that is because if your phone goes flat, and I flattened my phone on this, you've got no way to force it into sport mode to fly it home. Or ludicrous, as they've called it, because they've called it like Tesla. So you've got smooth, normal, and ludicrous mode. And you can't force it into ludicrous mode to fly it home. And then there is this other annoyance, and this is part of the way they've done this workaround for the speed. In ludicrous mode, there's 2 options for how much bank angle the aircraft has. You can prioritize speed or you can prioritize camera angle, but you have to change that in the phone. So if your phone went flat and you wanted to fly it back as fast as possible and you didn't have it in that mode, you would be a bit stuffed. What I also don't know is what it does in return to home. What is the bank angle speed in return to home? I haven't looked into that yet. Yeah, this one wasn't charging my phone, but I didn't see if there was a setting for that. The Autel app is very good. For those who haven't seen it, right, I'll put it on. You guys can have a look. It's very good. It's Go 4, basically. But it has the oldest voice in the world. 2001 Siri is what I call it. It is Siri from the past. Right, let me just find Autel Explorer. Sky app, sorry, not the Explorer app. So let me put that there. Let me turn that on so you guys can see it. Let's come in a bit. Ooh, let's go to full. So you guys can see. I want you to hear this as well now. RC disconnected. That is like the oldest voice in the world. Just firing the aircraft up. Firing the remote up. 2 seconds. We'll turn him around and point it towards me. There we go. Connecting. It's whinging because the battery's flat. It'll kick in now. RC disconnected. Get in. Might be that I've not pushed it in enough at the back. Yeah, there we go. I did that before. You've got to make sure the cable is right in on the remote as well. I did. Battery is low. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so what you've got on the app is this. You've got your flight modes up here. So you've got standard, ludicrous, and smooth. So that's how you change. No, there's... Can you hear what I mean by 2010 Siri? The aircraft cannot take off due to abnormal IMU. Please calibrate the IMU first. Go away. It won't like being in here. So that's how you change the modes. But under the settings, under control, under flight mode, no, sorry, under camera, I think it is. Is it under camera? Where was it? Let me just find it. Oh, no, it's under ludicrous, sorry. You've got down here the priority preference. So if I just come back out. So while you've got your modes here, you've got ludicrous, smooth, and standard. Under the settings, for each of these, you go under control, flight mode, under ludicrous, you've got this option here to priority speed preference. So you've got speed and video. And if you set it to speed, it will have that full bank angle. But if you set it to video, it will back off a little bit. Settings-wise, it has everything you expect to find on it. It's got altitude, distance and return to home point settings, compass calibration, battery information, locate my drone. You've got advanced settings for the sensors. Something I really liked as well, and I can't remember this on DJIs, you can actually turn the object sensing on and off by just tapping up there. It's really good. Turn it on. Tap it. Turn it off. Really handy. You can. I don't remember if you can do that on the DJIs. You've got your photo video settings down here. So you've got swipe. You can swipe it out to full screen or swipe down to bring it in. You've got all your settings down here. You've got your pro settings. Look at this. Pro settings. Manual camera settings. Latency in here. Yeah, you can see there's a bit of latency on it. The Mavic's not much better. Yeah, you can see that, can't you? You've got your camera settings, the SD card, MPEG-4 movie, H.264, H.265, download size, HD original, defog. Where is something I haven't found yet is where you set for HDR. You got image transmission settings, which I can't really change. You can change that, but only depending on the camera settings. And then you've got the about screen, which tells you about the firmware. Now, there is new firmware out, but I don't know what the difference is, which we'll have a look at in a minute. The battery's too low for doing that now anyway. But if we just go down now, and if we go into video, and then go into the settings here, we've got resolution. Where is the HDR settings? Anyone? I haven't found the HDR settings on it at all. You got to take into account, mind, in here there's a lot of wireless, so the latency might not be truly reflective. I am going to be doing a latency test between in the Mavic 2 Pro as well. I will compare it. Out and about. Where's Is anyone seen HDR? I need to read the manual, I suppose, shouldn't I? Video, hyperlapse, Pano, Pro. Haven't been able to find HDR at all. We've got camera, so we've got SD card, enable audio recording, enable video buffering during video shooting, JPEG plus RAW, hyperlapse, Pano, video format, MPEG-4 movie, H.264, H.265, defog, anti-flicker, overexposed warning, custom stamp, timestamp. No, there's nothing under there, is there? No. And then under here, we've got a video. Get off. We've got resolution, frame rates. I haven't been able to find the HDR at all. I just extra you have to pay for. Yeah, I haven't been able to find it at all. You know, if we go on Autel's website, official website, it should be on here. Let's just shut him down. It is possible that and there is a firmware update for it now. Let me just actually have a look, because I will go. So if we just go down, so consumer products, Nano series, they say it definitely does HDR. So if we look down here, the Nano standard and the Nano Plus does HDR. Where is it? That's the object avoidance. Specification of the Nano series, technical specification. I saw it in the cameras. Here we go. Camera Nano Plus. I definitely swear I saw HDR. Effective pixel 50. Yeah, that's always that nonsense. Where's video recording? Or did I not see HDR? Oh, here we go. Photo shooting mode, video. Yeah, look. HDR here. So, where's the HDR? Manual. Evo Nano Series manual. Video. Set shooting. Shooting modes. HDR. HDR. Oh, was that it there with it? Camera overview. Right, so Nano is Nano plus sensor supports 50 million photos. Blah, 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 focus range. 2 camera modes support shooting. Single burst auto exposure timer HDR. Well, that's yeah. Video. Ineffective pixels. HDR is overrated. It is overrated. I just wanted to see. Now, do they show release notes? Firmware version release notes. Okay, so February the 15th, they released a firmware update with the following components. Jello, Horizon. There, I've got that already. So what's this new firmware update they've added then? There's something else. I'll have to have a dig on the HDR one because I don't know where that is. I do need to have a figure out of where that is. Overall, though, guys, I have to say, I am actually very impressed with the product. It is a very, very good drone. I will be doing a review on it, and I will be talking about it and my experiences on it properly on the channel in the next couple of weeks. Once the video is all edited up, I'm going to be doing that this week. The video is going together for it this week. And yeah, that's it. So that is it from me for this one. Another live stream out the way. If you've been watching, I want to thank you all for watching. Why dynamic range in this context? Yeah, basically. It might... I don't know where it is. I need to send someone a message. Someone I know needs a message. Let me just message. Here we go. I've messaged one of the main support guys for Autel. Here, RTK video. No, I haven't. I've been off that stuff for a little bit. It is on my list, Jason. I'll be honest. I'll wrap this one up with a few comments, actually. I'm going to be doing less reviews this year because what's happening is the reviews are stopping me making content. Don't get me wrong. I'm intending to continue to review products, but what I have found in the last sort of 3, 4, 5 months especially, oh, we better talk about that, 25,000, yeah, I forgot about that, is the reviews are just taking up all of my time. And don't get me wrong, I've had some really great products come through, and I tell you, like that soldering iron, if you haven't watched that soldering iron video I did, that is such a great little product. That really, really is a great little product. I can't comment on the TS100s because I haven't tried them. But that Squirrel or Squire or Secure one, it is really, really good. It is really, really good. And I love doing things like that. I think that's really good. But what I'm finding is some of this stuff is taking up too much time. I have to change what I'm doing because if I don't, I'm not getting anything done I need to do, which is the longer videos that take time to put together. This week, the Mavic 3 review will go live on the channel this week. I had an issue where I had corruption on a drive and I lost a lot of footage, and I've ended up having to recover it, and it's come back now and I'm okay. But there's the Beta FPV reviews that hadn't gone out. There's the Mavic 3 video that hadn't gone out, and a couple of others. So I've got some stuff in the can. I am caught up as of today. There are 2 products I have here for review that I need to do videos on. That are going to be in the next week or 2. 3 really, but 2. And then I'm free for a bit, in the sense of I have nothing lined up. Now, that doesn't mean I won't get an email tomorrow from someone saying, hey, do you want to look at this? And look, I love reviewing stuff like this. This is the stuff I like to do. But I have found I've got sort of dragged behind on some of the stuff. And it just feels like I've got into this rigmarole of doing stuff for the sake of... No, the Axon video is finished. That will go live next week. That is the Sequoia or the Secure. The video went live on the channel on Saturday. It's a really good portable soldering iron. The Axon video is also in the can, and that will go live next week. It's not going to go live this week now. That will be in a week's time. It's all done. It's all uploaded, ready to go. And I need to concentrate on getting some stuff done, especially on the longer stuff like Ardra. I've got a list of videos I want to make, and I'm just not getting to them, and it's not working. So we're going to have the HD0 VTX video coming up, but that is going to be... I don't know if I'll review it. What I might do is do a teardown and do some thoughts. You're going to see loads of videos on that VTX this week. You're going to probably see loads of them when they end up in people's hands. There are some remotes I'd like to take a look at, but we're going to have to balance. I saw a review of the Sequoia where it binned up on camera. 1/4 of the 100k. Yeah. And look, this week we hit 25,000 subs, which is amazing. I want to thank you all, everyone who subscribes to the channel. For that, I really, really appreciate it. We continue to grow. It's been a real long January and February. Bruce will know what I mean on that. 1/4 of the way to a silver button, which is impressive. Fantastic. I need to sort of find a bit more balance on what we do to continue doing it. In the sense of some of the ones I've done this week, I've done faster, which I think is how I'm going to do reviews a bit more now. And I am going to do them that way, and then concentrate more on the stuff that I want to talk about. I've got the Skyzone video to do. That's not going to be for a month. I'll be honest, I want to use these for a month. I'm going to be in no rush to put the Skyzone video out. I will be reviewing them officially and giving my thoughts. But again, a lot of these are going to be overview reviews. It's like the Mavic 3 video really is touching on the product, but it's more my experience with it. And that's how a lot of these are going to be. It's the same with the Autel. I'll be doing a very quick look. This is a walk around the product and more talking about it, rather than a lot more of the photography stuff like I've done on reviews in the past. They'll get your eyes out. The Skyzone kids, they'll get your eyes out. But no, so the 25k is amazing. It really is. It's fantastic. Maybe more shorter pieces for the O4X. Yeah, I think in just... more of a quick walk around it. If you do them too soon, then they don't build a quality. If you wait too long, they collect more data. People have moved on. Yeah, it's like the Skyzones. Loads of people have got them. So a video on that is going to be... will not be as good as the Orqas. I was quite pleased with how the Orqa video came out, but there was a lot to show on that. I'll do the same with the Skyzones, but I'll probably try and keep it simpler. That's... less of the camera work, maybe more overhead, and just go, right, you've got this. Have no residual income. That's why they're down the education tour. Yeah, and I've got one video I've been wanting to do for ages, and I just haven't done it. As a playback, Skyzone are simplicity compared to the Orqas. Yeah, as a playback, and I just think, yeah, I tried the Orqas. Now it's the Skyzones. Now I'm going to give you my thoughts between the two, rather than a review. My thoughts between the two products. That's probably what I'm going to do with the Skyzones. That's what I'm going to have to do. But I got to come. The reviews take up a lot of time. A lot of time. I need to get the wing finished before summer. The wing is just sitting there, still not finished. It needs to be done. So it does become... I need to get through the mess I've got myself into at the end of last year. Once we're through that mess, I'll be free then to do more content. That's the AR wing. That's the AR wing. I was waiting on a GPS for it. initial reviews. Yeah, and that's the thing. And that the good thing is, I had a review on the Beta FPV module, and I made the full review and it got lost as part of that data loss, so I've had to redo it again. But the great thing is I've been using the module solid for like a month and a half, and it is a fantastic TX module, the TX Micro 1 watt. No reason not to buy it. AR Wing Pro, no reason not to buy that TX module. The 1 watt Beta FPV is bloody good, but I've had a lot longer to do with it as well. So as Bruce says, the residuals in reviews isn't there. If I just look very quickly at that, if I go YouTube Studio, if I just look at the Orqas, same here, still ain't in the package from Christmas. Yeah, it's just time. Time is becoming a real problem. Let me just find. Just as an interesting thing. This is very interesting. Actually, let me just find the video. The Orqa one is really interesting. ExpressLRS tonight. What was that? I forgot what I was going to talk about on ExpressLRS. I forgot about that one. We'll have to skip that one. No, you haven't missed it. I must have missed it. Let me find the Orqa video. Here's interesting, right? The Orqa review. And I've had low numbers. My review numbers are pretty good on it, I'll be honest. They're not shabby, but from a monetization point of view, just to give you an idea. Right. So, since published, the Orqa video, so a review on a £500 set of goggles. Peppermint, are you still here, by the way? Did you get your package? Has netted a total, ready for it, 7,000 views, a total £17.94. That is the value of a review with 7,000 views. So it's not a great deal, but it's not terrible, considering it's a small market and stuff like that. Has £17.94. £17.94. I can't remember what I was going to talk about on ExpressLRS. I've actually forgotten. Is it power hungry? I was going to talk about. We'll save that one for next week. Powerville's done some tests. There's a lot going on with power in ExpressLRS right now. It's quite interesting. Especially if you look at it under a current probe. You see some really cool stuff under a current probe. As long as you had it, that's fine. And you should. As long as you had it, that's fine, mate. But yeah, it just shows, buying products to review. And even if you think, if you got 10 times those numbers, right? So if you got 10 times those numbers and you 10 times the income, it'd be £179. So if you got 70,000 views, you'd be talking about £170 maximum income. It's just no money in reviews. Do you know what I mean? It really isn't. Don't get me wrong. If manufacturers send us stuff, we will be doing it. Anyway, guys, we've been going the 2 hours. So I'm going to bid you all stay safe. Look after yourself. Thank you for spending some time with me. How many of you are here? 61 of you. Thank you for surviving. If you're interested in seeing more like this, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the little bell next to it as well. If you'd like to support us, there are links to my Patreon as well as Buy Me a Coffee. A massive thank you to everyone who supports the channel via Patreon as well. I will see you guys same time, same place next week. And the couple of videos will be going on the channel in the next couple of days. So please do keep a lookout for it. Thank you to everyone who's made the 25K happen. And I will speak to you guys again soon. Button 1, button 2.